Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SMITE European Invitational at the ESL CM Storm Arena. My name is Rachel, I'll be your host, and with me is Mitch, all the way from Australia. Mitch, what brings you here?
Well, the scent of esports runs strong around Cologne at the moment, and even from Australia I could smell it and had no choice but to follow as well. So I'm here for some incredible esports action, and we are here obviously at the ESL CM Storm Arena for some SMITE action today. It's going to be an incredible day of games.
Now, SMITE is a game that is still in beta, so you guys at home might not have had a chance to play, but what you can do is head over to smitegame.com and download the game for free. It's a free-to-play game. It's totally awesome. So have you had a chance to actually play this yet?
No, I mean, being from Australia, it's a little bit hard, obviously, with latency and all that kind of thing, but I have definitely checked out a lot of the media releases and stuff on YouTube, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, what you guys need to know about this game is it is a MOBA, but it's a little bit different from the MOBAs you might be familiar with. We're going to have an over-the-shoulder camera, third-person view, so you guys are going to be right in the action for all these team fights. Furthermore, it's based on gods, so we actually have gods from 7 different pantheons all around the world, 41 different gods. The action is endless.
That's right, and the pure amount of gods that you can choose from as well is really going to allow for such an incredibly diverse play. And all of these guys that we're going to be seeing today as we go onto the teams in just a moment are going to have so many weapons in their arsenal to choose from, I guess, to try and get a leg up on the enemy team. So we're going to see, hopefully, a lot of diverse play, a lot of interesting play as these teams go at it, hammer and tongs, as they say in my homeland.
Yes, we have 4 of the best European teams here at the Invitational. We have Vengeance Esports, SK Gaming, Cognitive Gaming, and Bipolar Method. What we're going to have is a full round-robin group, and then we're going to go straight into semifinals and then finals.
That's exactly right, and all 4 of these teams are no strangers to going up against one another. They rank from 1st to 4th, respectively, in the European Hi-Rez weekly tournaments for SMITE. So they spend a lot of time getting to know one another and playing against each other as well. So these guys are going to probably have a little bit prepared, a little bit of, they'll have done their homework, and there'll be, some friendships and also some rivalries amongst these teams. But now here at the ESL CM Storm Arena, there is 15,000 euros to play for, and that's no amount of small change. So both these teams, or all of these teams, should I say, will be looking to bring their very best games to the stage.
Absolutely, this is the biggest LAN tournament in SMITE to come. And now we're going to head over to our casters, Jason Kaplan and HiRezBart. We're going to help you understand the action.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Gamescom Invitational. It is the European SMITE tournament. We have the top 4 teams in Europe. My name is HiRezBart, but before we get into all of it, we must welcome our guest commentator. It is Jason Kaplan. Sir?
Oh, we're shaking hands on stream.
Look at this.
We did a lot more earlier on.
This is a beautiful thing.
We did a lot more earlier on.
We had a lot more fun besides a handshake before the cameras went live.
Are you still wearing anything below your...
No. I'm free and bold.
Free balling it.
Yeah, more or less.
I like that.
Yeah.
It gets hot. It gets really hot sometimes here.
It does. You have all the lights, and sometimes you need to just let it all air out.
Yeah, last year it was about, well, if you're in North America, it's about 100 degrees. If you're in Europe, it's about 40 degrees. Yeah. And we were sweating everywhere. But luckily we were able to wear shorts that time, or I think you were wearing jeans.
I was wearing jeans and flip-flops.
That's style. That is class. That is the epitome of class.
That's how I roll, man. Oh, I'm still wearing my pass. I look like a fool. We'll get that sorted here shortly, guys. But we are going to take a look now at the group stage here. And what you're going to be looking at is SK Gaming, Vengeance Esports, Bipolar Method, and Cognitive Gaming EU will be your 4 teams playing today. You can see, obviously, everyone's sitting at 0-0 as they have not played any games yet, because that'll be the first thing we are doing here shortly, ladies and gentlemen. We up screen.
But here, real quick, before we get fully into these matchups, how did these teams get here? Because we should probably explain how they all got here today to play.
On a plane, Jason. No. So SK, Cognitive EU, and Bipolar Method all qualified for an invite. There was not a clear 4th place team in the European scene, so we had an invitational tournament, which Vengeance won, and that is why they are here as well, competing for their share of the 15,000 euros.
Okay, and well, as you see on your screen, we have SK Gaming versus Vengeance EU going to kick off the day, followed up by Cognitive EU versus Bipolar, and then Cognitive playing yet again versus Vengeance.
Yeah, we have. So those are going to be your first 3 games today, and these are all going to be best of 1s, ladies and gentlemen, in the group stage. So we'll get through these, and then we have some, basically, it's based on if you won the matchup in a tie, you move on. If it's a 3-way tie, we will be taking a look at basically total time of match completion to move on to the winner's side of the bracket, and then we'll have a 3rd, 4th place match. And the top prize here in this tournament is 7,500 euros.
That's a lot of money.
That's quite a bit of money for just taking a rail over across old Europe there and winning a SMITE tournament.
Yeah, I mean, talk to me about this. Is this like the first major event or offline event for SMITE?
It's really the first. It's certainly the largest prize pool. We did run a LAN and PGW at Paris Games Week last year.
Right.
Of course, we were a much different game then than we are now. We have all this beautiful artwork and, of course, our partnership with Tencent and all the other fun stuff that comes along with that. The new map art and all that fun stuff. So, but yeah, this is by far the first major event. And we had a tournament at PAX last year, but this is really the rollout of a new kind of, I guess, turning a new leaf in esports for SMITE, because we have a $20,000 tournament coming up next week from PAX. But before we get to any of that kind of action, we do have to toss it back to the stage where Rachel eagerly awaits us. Rachel, it's all yours.
Actually, I'm going to hand it to Mitch first. We got this all worked out ahead of time.
No worries. So I'm here with Sayo from SK Gaming. Obviously, you're going to be in the first game against Vengeance Esports. Now, Sayo, you guys currently placing second in the European Tournament Series. So, yeah, that's a pretty good position to be in. I know you guys, you're probably feeling confident. Tell me, what kind of preparation have you put in for this tournament? Has there been a lot of practice, or have you just taken it easy?
Okay, so first off, we practice a lot, like standard comps, and then we came here to boot camp for the SK office, and with that we had a lot of theory crafting against the teams, and we are feeling really confident right now that we can take the win.
Fantastic. Well, good preparation by the sounds of things. And Rachel, you've got Frezzy from Vengeance there.
Indeed I do. Frezzy, I was reading about your team, and you guys mentioned that you are really like a family with very specific roles. Do you want to tell me about that?
When we play together, on TeamSpeak, we're always like a family. Sometimes we have arguments, but most of the time we're caring about each other and trying to support each other.
So you have a very specific mom on the team, a dad on the team. What is your role on the team?
Oh, my role, I'm just the cleaner of the house. I just support them, trying to encourage them to play more. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Mitch, it sounds like we got some games to play.
That's right, I do. I wish I had a house cleaner, by the way. Where can I find someone like Frezzy? Now, look, we're going to get straight on into this game. That's going to be SK Gaming going up against Vengeance Esports in their first game of the European SMITE Invitational. And we'll pass it over to the casters to get us right into the action.
Before they...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'm joined by Jason Kaplan. My name is HiRezBart, and you can find all of our wonderful contact information, I'm sure, on one of these wonderful lower thirds. Shout out to ESL production crew, because we will be getting underway here in just a moment with game number 1, Jason. And we're just waiting on players to get ready and everything to get hunky-dory, and then we'll be getting right into it.
See, I want to know, where did the name Bort originate from? Because I've known you by that now for pretty much a year.
Sure, so it's the, well, my name is Bart, so it's the old Simpsons joke. There's an episode of The Simpsons where Bart goes into Itchy and Scratchy Land and he wants to buy a license plate that says Bart on it, but they're all out of Bart license, or they don't have Bart license plates, they only have Bort. So the joke is he's like, whose name is Bort? And then the intercom's like, we are all out of Bort license plates. Repeat, we are all out of Bort's license plates. And then someone's like, did you say Bort? That's my son's name as well. So it's a Simpsons joke. Long story short.
All right, did not know that. That was good to learn. I mean, I have a little nickname. It's called Captain Kaplan.
Yeah.
For some reason, because I got rid of my old alias.
Yeah, I was saying, what happened to but I love you? Because I do love you.
It's gone.
It's gone forever?
Yeah, it's gone forever, unfortunately. I still have the pictures, though. I still have everything. So I have my YouTube channel still with it. But
okay, fair enough.
So then I had to change it. I had to change it to just Jason Kaplan. And then from there, some people got the idea to start calling me Captain Kaplan because I had the following, I guess, when I stream. They call themselves the Kaplaneers. Ooh. And they call me the Captain.
Yeah, I think I saw you tweet Kaplaneers one time, and I was like, that guy really thinks a lot of himself.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I have a shirt that has the Kaplaneers logo on it.
Oh, it makes me feel much better. I feel fantastic, in fact, knowing that. Oh, look at these beautiful shots of the players, guys. You're taking a look at Vengeance Esports, and
they look very young.
They are. They're young dudes. They're mostly, look at them. They look a little overwhelmed, in fact. Trying to get everything done. You see there at the back of the screen is Frezzy. That's the captain of the team. Now we're taking a look at SK. You're seeing Zalia there in the on the right side of your picture, playing in that solo lane role. We are just waiting on them to get everything underway, guys, and then we will be bringing you all of the lovely coverage you've come to expect from, well, SMITE and ESL and Jason and probably not me.
Well, let's not include me into that one because that one might degrade the show a little bit. But let me ask you something, because this is always something I look at with teams coming to these big events, coming to these big tournaments. These two teams right here, how much experience have they had offline? How much experience have they had in front of a big crowd? Because that can completely change up your game.
I mean, this is really, I mean, you're talking about the beginning and burgeoning side of this game as an esport. So SK has played at LAN before. They were the team that actually won the that Invitational I was talking about at Paris Games Week, but nothing of this scale, certainly, in terms of the crowd that they should be expecting today, nor the noise. I mean, it's very loud out there. You know, they do have the noise-canceling headphones and earbuds and everything, but, you know, if you've ever used those things, they only go so far.
Yeah, especially with how loud it is, and not to mention your peripherals, your keyboard, your mouse, your monitors. You have to feel really comfortable at an event to play at your top level, and yeah. I'm really curious to see which teams will really pull through with that and will be able to adapt to what they're given at this time.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and let's grab a player here and see if we can get into game. We are that did indeed work. Yep, we are in. So we are ready and spectated up to queue on Frostiak, one of the players for Vengeance. And we'll be getting underway shortly here with SK Gaming versus Vengeance Esports EU. And, you know, SK, I think the favorite in this matchup, they do come in as the #2 seed going up against the #4 seed, Vengeance, who came in through the qualifier. So if you're a underdog rooter, I would suggest you're pulling for Vengeance here.
An underdog rooter?
Dude, come on.
No, I just never heard. I mean, remember, I've been in here in Europe for a year now.
Yeah.
I haven't been back to the States in like 7 months.
Oh, that's the new slang. We're all saying it.
See, it used to be hella when I lived in California. That was like the big thing.
Yeah. Now we're saying the rooter. Are you rooting for him? Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can talk about the teams a little bit because, as you mentioned before, SK coming in as, I guess, the second favorites throughout the tournaments you guys have been holding weekly over at SMITE and Hi-Rez. 27-14 and 14 with SK.
Yeah.
Pretty good score. I mean, obviously over 50%, so they're able to kind of have that under their belts. And you have Bipolar Method 27-14, so pretty much exactly tied with those two.
Yeah, they're really, really close on the ranking. You know, that the esports website does kind of chronicle their history as well. So some of the teams are a little bit older, and that's why they have a lot more wins. Okay. But these two teams are exceptionally close. SK really has been a powerhouse team for a long time. You know, they kind of all hinge on Sayo and what he brings to the table, what he's able to do coming from that jungle role. He used to play the mid lane for them, but he's bringing their style picks, and that really seems to drive that team is being able to have these strategies and come out with things. I mean, for example, in the last lane we had at Paris, I mean, he ran Kali when no one really even knew about her potential, ran her mid lane and took the whole tournament down, basically. So I hope to see some kind of play like that this week. But it looks like we have been pulled into the game here, Jason, and this means that we are getting ready to go with picks and bans. Ladies and gentlemen, our first ban coming out for SK Gaming is Naja, very powerful, very fast assassin-type jungler. So we were having a chat a little bit before the game about what to expect from picks and bans, and Naja, not always banned out, certainly, but definitely a very strong ban. And Shibalanke going to be banned out here. That's actually really interesting, as he has not been a super popular pick recently, Jason. Does rely on mana quite a bit to deal his damage as a range carry, but here elect to be banned out. So this, to me, really smacks of Vengeance, that being a targeted ban. And then you see Chang'e banned as well. So the question is, will we see Tyr?
Always could be a possibility. And one thing that I always like seeing with, you know, new games coming up with the pick and ban phase, the whole mind games that happen. And one thing that's really popular lately is the fact that there's a lot of really strong champions that a lot of teams say that I really value. And you can always ban them out, or you could ban out champions that are gods that aren't more likely to be banned. And then from that, you get stronger picks, like we do see Tyr already locked in right now.
Yeah, that's right. So this is scary stuff, I think, if you are a Vengeance fan. They've never before seen this type of actual play.
Yeah, and I mean, we're going to see what these two teams can really bring out. As you do see Ra being kind of hovered over right now as he does get locked in, and Athena being set on. You were talking to me before that Athena, kind of one of those gods that you expect out of a first pick for a team.
Yeah, Athena, you know, really, really strong. Not surprising at all to see her picked up in that first round. But I think we need to go back quickly to the Tyr pick here. They elect to ban out Sobek does Vengeance, and you saw Sayo immediately snap pick in Tyr, who will be in that jungle role. Of course, they will give up Thor that you see being highlighted now by Vengeance. Let's talk quickly about the Tyr Isis Apollo combination. They have the probably premier split pusher in the game, and Apollo with that ultimate able to have great mobility. Isis, a very strong controlling mid. Lots of burst damage and very favored by Sun Touch indeed. Over on Vengeance now, they're looking at Guan Yu and Thor as what they want to follow up with. That'll put likely, well, it kind of remains to be seen. Will we see Athena in that solo role, or will it be Guan Yu? Both of them that bruiser style of character.
I really have nightmares of Guan Yu, though, when he was first released, how strong he was, man, and how frustrating he was, because I didn't have him at the time, but that didn't stop me from getting destroyed by him every time I went up against one.
Yeah, he was at a point where, you know, you were kind of running through the jungle, like looking to gank your Guan Yu, and you see, you know, you have 3 or 4 guys would be like, I don't know if we can take him, man. But
3 or 4 guys taking out one guy, and you're still not sure if that can happen.
But we do see, so this is interesting stuff here. So you're going to see Poseidon is actually going to be played in that mid role. You see him being swapped over to Suntouch, the mid player here, and you're going to be seeing a solo lane Isis. So this is a traditional mage that you saw in the mid lane for a long time in the meta. They've just now started experimenting in the last maybe month with moving her into that solo role. She gains speed while using her #1 ability. It can clear quite well. She has nice stuns and silences, but quickly it's finished with Vengeance here, where they're going to pick up Neath as their final role. And just to introduce the teams, ladies and gentlemen, over on the left side of your screen, they're going to be the blue team, and fighting out of the bottom of the minimap, ladies and gentlemen, it is SK Gaming. They are Sayo, Zalia, Suntouch, Schmeck, and Gortok. Over on the right side of your screen, it's Vengeance EU. They are Frezzy, Frostiak, Lennox, Repicos, and Pakuza, and they will be fighting out of the top of the minimap. And as the red team, and ladies and gentlemen, we are in-game and underway, and you see blue team and red team. I'm going to change that real quick. Sorry about that. It looks like I lost when I relogged here. So SK and Vengeance EU. And so that is what we're looking at, and we are underway here. We're just a couple of seconds behind live, and you see everyone popping in and starting to pick up their starting items.
And let's kind of explain the game for the people who are maybe not play it competitively. Explain what meta is for them. Explain what current meta we're using right now, because people are looking to get into competitive play, like to know this information, like to adapt their strategies, and maybe pick up different gods.
Sure, of course. So what you're looking at here is looking currently down the mid lane. So the mid lane role currently in SMITE is a solo role. You do see occasionally teams come out with that dual lane mid, but in general it's going to be a solo role. It's going to be a very strong clearing mage. Over here in the right side lane, you see it's a bit shorter than the left side lane. This is where you'll see the 1v1 happen. The left side lane here is a bit longer, and you'll generally see the 2v2 lane happen here, and then there'll be one jungler. For Vengeance here, we'll take a ride with Repicos on the Thor, who'll be your jungle role. Thor brings a lot to the table in terms of his mobility and gank potential, and right now you're seeing the teams actually, SK running as 5 just to the right of the mid lane there. The team's actually going pretty aggressive with the warding. You can see where they've warded up, because where they want to go is contest these side Harpy camps here. I'll give you a look at those. So in just a few moments, these are going to spawn in, and this is where you're going to see the early fights, but it looks like both of our teams here not too aggressive at the moment. They have primarily stayed on their respective sides of the map. SK electing to go to this right side, but now you see them moving up a little bit more aggressively, but they've been spotted out here. You see wards really well placed, and massive ward coverage early on from Vengeance. You see them really all over the map.
Do you think that's nervousness coming out, or do you think that's just they want to be able to control the game? They want to be able to control their own side of the jungle, maybe pick up a couple of camps here and there and really start to take it early on? Because like you said before, I mean, they're going up against pretty much the #2 favorite here at this tournament.
Yeah, we're going to see, here comes the contention at the side Harpy camp. It looks like it was picked up by the Gentleman of Vengeance, but here we go. Lennox in a lot of trouble. That early damage coming out from Tyr is just so strong, and over the wall is Gortok, and there is first blood coming out in favor of SK, and that is exactly what they're looking for. They go up 1 kill to nothing here, and they have blown open about a 500 gold lead. And to answer your question earlier, I think the very heavy warding is really what they're looking for, is that ability to get a quick pick. And one thing I want to point out here is this is a strategy that we haven't seen from Sayo in some time. He's actually elected to go basically empty on his items with just that jungling item, the Bumbus Mask, his Hand of the Gods, which will allow him to take out creep camps early, and he's gone a red pot. So he's going to have that additional physical power. In fact, if we take a quick look here, you'll see he's sitting at a pretty robust let's see, physical power, where are you? Oh, I'm hovering over magical because I'm awesome. 80 physical power here. So, and now he has that red buff picked up as well. This Tyr is going to be a nightmare, and we have a dual lane mid. So all of that I told you, Jason, has gone out the window. SK going to be bringing out the dual lane mid here and try to force a new look out of this game.
Why have you lied to me, Bart?
Well, because really I like to see you fail.
And we do see actually 1v1s happening in the longer lane, and of course, only one over on the shorter lane right now. And with both team comps, who has a stronger early game? Who has a stronger team fight capability? You know, it's one of those things where you're going to be seeing from Vengeance, they're going to be relying very much on gank. They have the Neath, they have the Thor, they have the Athena, all with very nice global presence. They're going to be able to rally really quickly into these fights. But I think that the edge is to SK certainly in the team fights. Poseidon bringing the Kraken is a very strong presence. Tyr has lots of control in team fights as well with his dashing abilities, and as well as that ultimate from Isis. Basically, a lot of damage reduction and a lot of
damage
Bacchus
potential.
going in.
Yeah, you see Bacchus going in here. They want to continually contest these mid-Furies. In fact, you see multiple players will rotate over just trying to keep these down, as if you can control that part of the map and keep those minions in your favor for most of the game, you actually will get quite a significant advantage. And one thing we mentioned, we said that Poseidon was going to be in the mid-roll, but you see Suntouch here is going 1v1 against Pakuza on the Guan Yu. It's definitely an interesting matchup because you have basically a pure mage going up against a magical brawler as he stares off into the sunset.
Well, I mean, it is pretty beautiful. Actually, I will say this, and I apologize to everyone watching the stream. Obviously, I'm not casting Smite every single day, of my life, but last time I majorly played was about a year ago, and the map was completely different. I really have to give the entire Hi-Rez company just kudos on how it's changed, how it's evolved, and how awesome it looks now.
Well, certainly appreciate that. Here we saw Sayo making a move over towards the right side of the map. It doesn't look like he's going to stay in, so we won't take a ride with him as he goes back. We'll head over to Repikas here on the Thor, who hasn't really looked to get any action going as of yet. But you certainly will expect him to be looking for those ganks shortly here as he gets closer to level 5. In fact, speaking of level 5, that mid lane Gortok on Bacchus is currently, let's take a look at the XP per minute here, is just a bit behind, well, Zaylia is way out ahead here, 433 XP a minute. He's quite a bit ahead of Frostiak as well, and that's something to be scared of, I think, is this Isis is really gaining levels very, very quickly, which is why you put her in that solo lane, of course, and the amount of damage she'll do just based on ability scaling is really, really strong.
Yeah, and is there any major items that kind of stick out right now? Like, ooh, we're seeing like an early build of a certain item or something we normally don't see as we do see. Gank happening in middle, obviously not really going to go anywhere with that.
Yeah, I mean, so what they're trying to do there basically is push him out of position to contest these. You see them basically staying right on the timer for those mid Harpies, and they've done an effective job of making sure Apollo
This is the first time they've been able to take it, I believe, actually.
Yeah,
it's
the first time
contested every single time by SK.
Right. That's the first uncontested Harpy camp they've been able to pick up, has Vengeance. So, a bright spot for them. You do see they are falling just a bit behind here in the gold, about 691 gold difference. The XP is really locked up, though, at about 129, just barely in favor of SK. We do have a bit of a fight going down here, so let's take a look at it. Getting quite low as Repikas. He will be picked up by Sayo. So much control on that tier. And did they make a grave mistake by not banning out tier? You see Neath's root coming through, but it's just not enough. And those mid-Harpy contests have become more and more dangerous as Sayo gains more and more levels here on this jungle tier with a red pot to start.
That sword is just, I'm sorry, I'm just distracted by the sword. It's just so big. But yeah, as you were saying before, so tier was released 2 weeks ago. You were telling me before we started up. And it was let known to everyone that it was going to be playable here at Gamescom. And have you seen so far a little bit? Have you seen earlier in the weeks? Are you impressed by the god overall?
He has, what he brings to the table is basically he has a very, very strong control-based kit. He has a tremendous amount of burst damage as well. And what he's able to do is basically, is when he hits you with a dash, you'll see him actually push the characters with him, and then he'll knock them up. And then he has a follow-up ability that he can use only when they're knocked up that will knock them back, dealing additional damage. So when he does that, he gets just a tremendous amount of damage. Now, if they're able to dodge that initial part of the combo, his damage capabilities come way, way, way down. Let's take a quick look at the item pickup. So, Jason, we haven't really done too much justice there. We'll take a look here at Zaylia first for SK and go down their items. She has gone for these cooldown reduction boots. They are finished and up and running. Has a couple green pots as well just for sustain. You do see on...
we see a Harpy contest coming up here.
Oh, yeah, we do. We have Apollo and the Bacchus here going to try to go in and keep Isis from getting those, but Hand of the Gods is able to pick it up. Here comes Apollo on the chariot. Thor has gone in as well. Will we see Apollo come back in is the question. We do indeed. Here he is trying to put out the damage underneath. We'll be able to clean her up. It doesn't look like it, Jason, and now they're going to turn their attention to Lennox, but that's going to be that for the moment. You saw Thor come crashing and try to contest. Speaking of Smek here on the Apollo, playing under the alias Smeckington, he is running that Heartseeker Rush build, so you see him only rank 1 boost. He's going to try to get that stacking item up, of course. If you recall, the Heartseeker stacks reset on death, so a very aggressive play.
Yeah, and we were talking about this before, but both of these teams really contesting these Harpies. Like, it shows from both teams that they really want to control that camp alone, and it kind of shows like their whole mindset and how much they value that. And every time they do spawn, I mean, out of the 4 times we've seen them go down, 3 of them have been contests, and SK is really trying to just stranglehold, it seems, Vengeance in terms of overall gold and that experience.
Yeah, and quickly to take a look at Vengeance's items here, you see Lennox running that Watcher's Gift, the support gold per 5 item. Of course, that does give him a little bit of a weaker early game, but should help him transition better into the mid game. You see the player starting to move towards mid, so this means that our Harpies will be back up shortly. One would imagine. You see Tyr kind of floating around. Let's see what Sayo has in mind. We'll take a ride with him as we see Vengeance primarily setting up on the left side of the map. They may be looking actually to to set up perhaps a kill on Poseidon. You see Poseidon and Athena both moving over towards that Gold Fury, and we may see a fight happening at some point here. We are very excited to see it all go down. These Harpies will be back up shortly, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see what they are able to do here. Will Vengeance be able to pick them up again? Taking a look at our graphs, you do see a gold difference of about 1,600 in favor of SK. They are leading experience as well, and here comes that Fury fight we were talking about. Knocked up as Lennox, but it's not going to be a true contest coming up from SK. They are going to be falling back.
And you know, we really haven't seen anything as Poseidon and Guan Yu lane. They haven't really been fighting too much. They've been just trying to farm away, as you do see that first turret on the red side being attacked. But there's a huge gold difference per minute actually developing, where SunTouch, 264 gold per minute, over to Pakuza, he's at 186. So I would imagine if this is left alone for quite a while, he's going to have a huge advantage over him. And I was actually going to ask you a little bit earlier, you know, in this lane, you obviously don't see AP mages up against these bruisers, but in this situation, who would most likely win?
Well, you know, when you're looking at the golden minute totals, yeah, I mean, Lennox is quite low here, and I think the we just missed a kill. In fact, over on the right side lane, where Sayo and Zayli are able to get a kill onto Frezzy there in that solo raw. But to answer your question there, I think you really need to look at I think Gortok here playing that Bacchus role. The kind of support for SK is sitting at a very respectable 238 gold a minute here, and is quite a bit ahead of that much lower Lennox. So Bacchus is going to be a much bigger force into this mid game. He has that knock up. He has a very, very strong ultimate that has some amount of crowd control basically in the Intoxicate, makes it difficult to land those skill shots. So I think that's going to end up being a problem. I mean, you see he's also leading the XP a minute by quite a bit as well. No, I'm sorry, he's actually falling behind now as we see. No, I'm sorry, I'm looking at Guan Yu as Lennox and Pakuza actually switched spot there on the graph.
I'll forgive you this one time.
Just once, please forgive me. But you see, you know, about 415, 420 here for Gortok versus 300 XP a minute for Lennox. So he's going to just get further and further ahead, and this could spell trouble.
And you know, so this is what I love about the whole UI of SMITE, is that right now, if we can go back to the gold totals real quick and how they're not that, yeah, that one perfectly, is that we see SK across the board, they're getting more gold per minute than Vengeance, and we do see a major fight breaking out here.
Yeah, we do. We're going to have the ultimates being used off. They're trying to burst down Sion. They will get tiered down. Here comes our Kraken coming out, but it's not enough to pick up Lennox. In the back there is Smek. Smek trying to put up that damage. Is he going to be able to pick up anyone? It doesn't look like it. Now they try to pin in Frostyak. The Whirlpool is out. Will the backflip come? It will. Neat is going to go down, though, to SunTouch. He gets her with that last auto attack, and it is a 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day. Tier for Neath, and I think that Vengeance comes out a bit ahead here as they were able to pick up the jungler. They do lose Neath, but I think that jungle role keeping him down right now, especially with Tier being so strong and so kind of unknown, it's very important that they've been able to keep him down.
And I really like the ward coverage that SK has over that Wraith camp. They're always keeping a ward down. They want to be able to spot when Vengeance ever goes in for that, and when they do, fight, break out every single time. And if this keeps happening this way with, you know, 4-1 in kills, you know, SK, they're starting to pull really far ahead. That Vengeance, they need to do something about this to kind of get back in, because that is a major goal difference right now for SK.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, basically what you see here is that it appears that Vengeance is kind of stuck playing SK's game at the moment. SK has the better team fight. They have the, you know, very, very strong control in those team fights with the Tier and the Bacchus. A lot of damage coming out from the rest of their team. So they're really able, and they want to take these fights. And as of right now, Vengeance is happy to let them, it seems like, as they have really more of a gank lineup. I really like to see them exploiting their global ultimates and trying to stretch this map out a bit and find some room to farm for their carries. You see Tier rotating in here now. Sayo looking to set up some kills. Thor not far behind him. And, you know, things are really starting to coalesce, it seems. This mid lane, you can just tell how much they're valuing these gold harpies, as actually Vengeance will get one uncontested here now. But SK, once again, going to be looking for that fight.
And right now, if you're in Vengeance's seat, I mean, obviously it's your first big tournament. You came in through the wildcard tournament, or the wildcard tournament. Right now, what do you do to get back in this game? Because, I mean, if you look at it, just by the numbers alone, it's starting to slip away from them. How do they kind of stop SK in their tracks, and what do they need to do?
I think it all starts with Thor, and it generally does, and that's why you see him be such a high priority pick, especially in the European scene where they tend to play a fairly aggressive jungle-style ganker.
We can gank from pretty much anywhere across the map with that.
That's right, and you know, I think that's really the key to them getting back in. They have Neath, who can shoot the Spirit Arrow across the map. They can follow that up with a Thor stun, and they really need to look to pick off some of these players. But as of right now, you know, they're spending a little bit too much time, I feel like, team fighting SK, who just has that better early game.
Yeah, and I mean, you see it accumulating in gold, you see it accumulating in experience, and right now we do see Thor actually going to ult out here. I'm not sure if he's actually going to go for a gank or he's just trying to escape a gank.
Oh, no, he's going
in.
And yeah, we have the tier ult coming out as well. Gortok bursted down by Vengeance. Now in some trouble here is the rest of the team as Isis is rotating and Frostyak in a lot of trouble backflipping out. Will Tyr be able to chase it down? No, that crippling curse is going to come out. And now the spin to win out on top of that from Repicos. You see the Athena ult being challenged. Down will go Tyr, and this is what Vengeance is looking for. They actually do exploit some of their global presence, but they actually are able to pick up that team fight. Oh, what a spirit ball coming out from Isis there. Picks up a double kill, does Zalia, and is really now they're going to be looking for the the follow-up kill here on to Lennox as well. Suntouch has plenty of damage, and down he will go, and that kill goes the way of Suntouch indeed. And what looked to be a great fight for Vengeance turns into a wonderful turnaround by SK, coming through with those big AoE team fight abilities.
And they had a 2-for-1 right there, but they just kept getting caught, and in the end, it was a 4-for-2 for SK, and that's, I mean, obviously really unfortunate for them, but it kind of shows that they're trying to make some plays happen. Obviously, like we said before, it's a round robin. They have a lot more games to play today. They don't need to win every single one of them, but to take down one of the favorites of this tournament would be a huge win for them as a morale booster.
Yeah, I agree. Here we're going to see the Gold Fury attempt. A reset actually there. I think that was accidental. Maybe not. As you see, Vengeance trying to make their way in. Bakuza going to get stunned out. Ra looking for that slow of the Blinding Light. Continuing in, it looks like Vengeance really wants to take this fight. And I'm not sure that this is their game plan right now. I mean, you see that right side lane is empty. They are going for that contest. Those global ultimates are down. They use a lot of them in the last team fight, but now they're going to make their own campaign here to take out the Gold Fury. Starting to fall quite low, and you know, SK may just be giving this up here. Once he gets under, nope, because here comes the Bacchus. Will he get it? SK does snipe that Gold Fury. Bakuza now getting that ultimate out. Down will fall Gortak, but a big stun comes out from Isis. Thor in the air. Will he re-engage is the question. Sayo going in. Sayo has picked up Frezzy. Will they have enough to burst him down? They will not. Yes, they will. There it is. And down he will fall. In the back lines, though, they're looking to find a pickup onto Isis. They haven't been able to pick her up just yet. Zalia trying to get underneath. Arrow coming out, but he loses sight as it is in air. No, I'm sorry. It was blocked by Sayo. Now Apollo coming in onto Repicos in the back of the fight. They pick up the jungler. Still looking to turn this around is SK. Sayo in a little bit of trouble, but he does have he's going to get bursted down just like that by the dash of Guan Yu, but looking to re-engage now is SK. Thinking better of it is Suntouch. Bakuza has ported back in at full health, and now that should be the end of the engagement, but SK 6-5. They do, I believe, come out a bit behind in that team fight. We'll take a look at the graphs, and you see it dip down just ever so slightly in favor of Vengeance EU, and it's going to be a bit of a dive here on the mid lane. They want to pick up a kill on a Suntouch, the dash through from Bakuza. Port comes in from Suntouch. Suntouch looking for a play, but I don't think there's one to make.
And look what's been happening over the past 5 minutes. I mean, the golden experience lead for SK has doubled, flat out. As a minimum, I mean, obviously the XP has gone up even a little bit more than that, and then, just like you said before, they keep trying to force these fights, they keep trying to contest these objectives, and they're just losing these fights. I mean, they get a couple of kills early on, but then the rest of SK with all these global ultimates just kind of swarm them over, and Vengeance is really having a tough time. But then again, you know, like we said before, playing in front of a crowd, playing on stage, it might just be a little bit of nerves. It might be just like a little bit of a warm-up for them, and maybe we'll see a little bit more out of them later on today.
Yeah, you know, we'll see if they're able to, you know, even they're not completely out of this game yet. I mean, they had a really good opportunity to pick up the Fire Giant there. They weren't able to do it. The Bacchus initiation was just too strong, and they got caught out and lost that. And, you know, that would have really helped them. And as you saw, I mean, that XP difference, you know, it swings, you know, back and forth a little bit. But, you know, right now, I mean, it's so heavily in favor
it's steadily been growing.
SK, and it's been going up. You know, you see Vengeance pick up some kills and swing back a little bit in their favor, but it just hasn't really come to fruition. They're trying to find a kill on the Suntouch here now is Vengeance, but it doesn't matter because the Kraken comes out, rearing his ugly head, and does just a tremendous amount of damage, picking up a kill onto Repicos. They've really just shut him down. Sayo going in with that Tyr ultimate, looking to pick up some control, but it's a nice talk coming out from Lennox, but it's just not going to be enough. You see Tyr knocking them every which way, and maybe they are going to be rethinking not banning him out as they lose two there to Tyr's wonderful control and burst damage potential. You know, we haven't really talked too much about items. We see some big pickups coming out. Suntouch and Zalia both with that focused Void Stone. We have Void Blades coming out onto Sayo, making him a little bit tankier, a little bit more damage potential. We have a finished Heartseeker, and we're going to have more initiation. They want to try to burst down the knees, and they will get it in deep. Now, not enough damage to pick up a kill does Bakuza have, but he is going to fall down now as Smek comes back in from the side with that Apollo ultimate, and that's going to be a mid-tower going the way of SK.
So is this normal? Do we usually see the first turret of the game fall at 16 minutes?
You know, I think it's, and it's not even going to go down here. It's going to be defended. You know, I think it's not generally the case because often you'll see teams rotate players over to that short lane and overload it and try to push an early tower to get that early gold advantage. But I think what SK has drafted here, they really are looking for those team fights. So they're perfectly happy to sit back, farm up. They know they are ahead, and they want to look to exploit that. I think with the tower here, what you're looking at is basically just a case of land nerves. You know, no one wants to be the one that overextended and got killed and lost the game.
Well, if you look right now, I mean, Zalia, 3 scores so far this game. Fantastic job by him. Suntouch 4-0-7. See Smekington 1-0-8. I mean, you have 3 people on the SK team who have not died yet, and all the other deaths are pretty much on Sayo because he's been the one engaging these fights.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, he's done a very, very nice job of putting his team into the right position. You see him sitting on 6 assists, and actually Smek and Gortok sitting at 8 apiece, 7 on Suntouch. So they've been very involved in team fighting, where you look, only Frostiak actually on that range carry roll with 6 assists over on Vengeance, but 3 deaths up on him. So they're just not able to really make room for that Neith to farm up the items that she's going to need.
And the thing is, like right now for SK, you have your carries with a good chunk of your kills. Over on Vengeance side, you do have your carries, obviously, with a couple of kills here, but Replicas, he actually has, you know, 2 of their 6 currently. And over on the other side, we actually see, well, the range actually picking up a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, you see Zalia sitting at 6 himself there, Smek sitting on 1. We're going to see Thor looking to find the initiation with the Athena ult coming in. She comes. In the back there is the Bacchus. Tyr going to actually ult out of that fight. In the back now, we have a bit of a man fight going on between Apollo and Neith, but Neith is going to bug out, not wanting to take on Smek with that finished Heartseeker. Now turning their attention to the rest of Vengeance is SK. Coming through is that Thor is going to port out just in time, and SK looks like they want to take a fight. Kraken coming out in the back of that fight. Neith in some trouble, but not going to fall down just yet. And it looks like SK has successfully zoned them out. Here comes a Guan Yu ult, but will it be enough to actually lock down any of the members of SK? It will not indeed. It'll be enough just barely to silence out Sayo. Big burst damage coming from Gortok. They'll pick up Lennox as well. SK wants to keep on rolling. Back of the fight, Replikas trying to do whatever he can to pick up Apollo. It's not going to be enough. The dash away of the moves is good to get him to safety. The teams are going to try to port back in here, will Vengeance, but I think SK should be able to net themselves a tower on the back of that team fight.
Yeah, so 18 minutes in, looks like we'll see the first one of the game finally going down to SK. And they just keep forcing these fights left and right. Like you said before, they are not scared to go for a team fight here. And Vengeance, they keep losing a little bit more each fight. And right now, I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier on, what they need to do to get back in the game. And you said, you know, get a couple of kills here or there, you know, keep farming up. Right now, down pretty much 7,000 gold, a lot of experience. Or sorry, 8,000 gold. Now what do they need to do? Is there a possibility of like a sneaky fire giant or something like that?
That's exactly what you got to look for here. They either have to find a good fight at the fire giant, and maybe try to find SK looking to push their advantage and take it up, get that turnaround, find that buff, and look to control the game from there. And really, with the Fire Giant buff on their backs, they would be able to hopefully win a team fight and push through a couple towers, which would help them a lot in the gold draft, but the experience is just the problem. They've just been grouping against SK's superior group team and losing those fights consistently. 2 Gold Furies have gone the way of SK as well, giving them quite a bit of experience, and they're really starting to flex their muscles here. You see Zalia is going to go for that Ethereal Staff, which is going to give that Isis a tanky presence, giving 2% of maximum health converted into magical power and granting 600 health on top of just general base scaling and HP. So Zalia really looking to have a bigger and bigger team fight presence here, able to stay alive and control as long as possible. Building up the tank is Gortok, the Mystical Mark finish, doing that AoE magic damage. That'll start to add up. And then you have the shield being worked on by Tyr, giving him really the ability to mitigate a lot of that damage coming in, as the magical burst is quite significant from Vengeance EU.
And we're seeing a lot of purification beads coming in for SK, and even a couple over on the Vengeance side. And how impactful are these during these fights? Because, I mean, obviously that cleanse is kind of perfect for all these stuns and all these silences.
That's absolutely right. We'll get into that in just a moment as we see Gortok trying to get in onto Replikas. I don't think they're going to be able to lock him down, but Sayo coming in from behind. Sayo looking for a play, but there's not one to be made just yet. They're going to bide their time. Purification beads, to answer your earlier question, you expect to see them on most of the players in the game. Actually, a bit curious to see Vengeance is actually running quite light on them. You see those Aegis Amulets and Purification Bead combo being very, very popular with the players. It allows you to get out of jail and then not take any damage for a few moments. Tyr looking to be very manly and zone out Vengeance here for the moment, as SK is grouped up over here on the left side looking to take their second tower. They seem to be feeling their momentum and wanting to exploit as much as they can out of it.
Yeah, it looks like they want to fight too. I mean, they're just kind of waiting on the side. Sayo wants to like engage for his team right now, but they are backing away. And we do see a little fight breaking out here with Athena, and it looks like SK are kind of just backing away. They want to be able to contest these Furies, and back out.
Yeah, I mean, you can see even 21 minutes into the game with a nearly 10,000 gold advantage, they want to continue to grow that lead. They want to find those Furies, and they want to pick them up. Sayo, is he going to look to ult overall? No, because here comes a Kraken in from the side of Suntouch. They want to pick up Frostiak. Is it enough burst? Do they have it? No, they will not. The taunt from Tina is going to save Frostiak for the moment, but getting dunked on by Sayo, running through there, and this tier jungle just still proving to be very strong. In the backside now, looking to find the Ra is the rest of SK. Here comes that Apollo ultimate right in the Golden Chariot. He's actually going to miss Frezzy. Athena ult coming in on his back, and he should be able to survive this engagement for the moment. But coming in from behind is Gortok. There's the ultimate down. Control comes out from tier. They're able to pick up 1 kill. Lennox going to dash out, and that should be that, but that will get SK yet another tower and net them a pretty tremendous gold lead here as they're going to be moving closer and closer to 11K.
Oh, they're going for the Fire Giant right now.
And
they have the time for it.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, that's a great call. You see Athena and Guan Yu, the only ones up on the board. You have 52 seconds remaining on Ra, who's the major snipe potential. You have that Hand of the Gods 3 on Athena.
Guan Yu, he's coming in from the side. This could be deadly for him. He could go down easily against these 4 or 5 members of SK.
It seems like he wants to do anything he can. He's really trying to stall out here. He wants that Athena to come in with that Hand of the Gods and try to snipe this. He's going to use his ultimate to disrupt, and here it comes. Ultimate coming up, but it doesn't matter because SK has a Hand of the God of their own. They burst down to Fire Giant's remaining percentage health. Sayo seems to be in some trouble, but I don't know if they're going to have to pick him up. They may need to be careful here. He has a lot of damage. Neath ultimate coming up, but it's going to be blocked out by Gortok, as you see there, and now stunned out is Lennox. Thor ults in the back. Will pick up a kill onto Sayo underneath tower, but at what cost? Replicos, how are you going to make it out of this? The Mjolnir's Attunement comes out, but not in time, and he will fall as well. A 1-for-1 trade under tower. A great trade, though, as they get that buff off of tier.
Yeah, and these death timers that we're coming up to, I mean, 40 to 60 seconds are just getting really hard for teams to deal with, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of pushes come in very soon for SK. I mean, the difference in gold that they have right now, the difference in XP they have, they're like ahead across the board in terms of levels, as Zelia is the first level 20 coming into this, and right now, these Phoenixes, I'd be a little scared to be one of those because that seems like a possibility coming up in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, with this Fire Giant buff, SK is just going to be looking to push down some remaining turrets. Both the outer and the inner turrets here, they're going to be looking probably to pick up. Looks like the push is going to come to this left side lane, or perhaps it'll be a split push by Apollo. He's quite able to rally, but he's going to start throwing in the auto attacks on this left side tower. Is going to go for a Soul Eater here, electing to get that lifesteal and attack speed after picking up his Heartseeker, but he has plenty of physical damage. You'll see him eat through that left side turret, and that's just going to put SK even further ahead. They're going to expand their lead here now, let's see, to 12,500 gold, 17,000 experience different, and this one seems very much in favor of SK for the moment.
On Yu's trying to hold on to this turret here, but I mean, he's so far ahead. He just has so many items, and as you can see right there, Guan Yu can't really afford to fight against him 1v1, and right now the rest of SK, they're just kind of split pushing here. They're just trying to take their time here, try to use this Fire Giant buff to the best they possibly can, and try to spread, it seems like, Vengeance very thin across these lanes.
Yeah, they're playing now. They've played their game. They got through the early and mid game with their team fight, and now they get to have the luxury of running that split push Apollo. Where before they were looking to find those team fights, they weren't really being that aggressive. You see Suntouch just basically putting out as much damage as he can, trying to force them to go back and buy time for that Apollo to continue his split push in the left. He can rally really well, but I think this game that they're playing right now is what Vengeance should have been looking to do a bit earlier and really exploit the fact that they had those 3 global ultimates. But now they're trying to kind of scrap together a team fight against a team that just flat out has superior abilities.
Yeah, and you see middle, I think you touched on it just a little bit earlier, the SK, they're not even looking for a fight middle. They're just trying to keep 3 members of Vengeance there, allow Apollo to split push, which right now he's sitting over at that Phoenix. He's going to get ganked from the back, and I wonder if he's going to go down here.
Here comes the Thor, but no, because Apollo rides out on his Golden Chariot, and he's going to look to re-engage over towards the mid lane. Actually going into a fight in the jungle here. Guan Yu's ultimate coming out. Does he have enough? Bacchus goes out. Here comes the Thor dunk coming in. He will have the charge, and in some trouble is Pakuza, but he'll make it out of there just barely for the moment until he gets cleaned up by Sayo rotating over. And now 2 down for Vengeance. It's trouble because SK is going to go find a Phoenix.
This would be really unfortunate right now. We do those death timers, 44 seconds on Replicas, 60 seconds on Pakuza. And SK, do they have the ability to finish the game right now?
They have the damage. The question is, can they keep Vengeance from really forcing them to stay there? Vengeance has decent crowd control with that Neath cripple especially. I'm sorry, Root especially. Sayo eating a Phoenix shot there. They're going to go take up this remaining mid tower, and
they don't care. They're like, oh, we'll just face tank it.
Yeah, they're just going to go in. I mean, at this point, Gortok gets such great HP regen from that Fire Giant buff. He's actually going to fall back and port back into the mid tower, I imagine. They may be looking to actually pick up another Gold Fury here. They may not look to go for the win just this moment. Playing it, of course, playing it a bit safe, knowing that they are playing for quite a bit of money.
Yeah, 7,500 euros. I mean, you want to play the safe as possible, especially when you have this lead. I mean, 23 to 7 in kills for SK, 59,000 gold to 42,000. there's no point in potentially throwing away a game that you know you for sure have in the bag, especially at this point in the day.
Yeah, you know, they're definitely feeling themselves. You know, they're going to run Sayo basically split pushing here. He's going to be spotted out by Ra. But you know, he's pretty confident in his ability to remain solo in this lane and really not have any trouble putting together an escape if necessary. So, you know, should Vengeance have banned out Tyr is kind of the question here. I mean, you saw he's just had such great control in these team fights. He's done so much more than Thor's been able to put out, and Thor kind of traditionally has been that ace in the hole style of jungler. So yeah, the addition seems to be very strong.
Yeah, I mean, I want to ask you, is it the Tyr pick, or is it just the fact that Vengeance, I mean, they tried contesting HiRezBart, they got contested every single time by SK, they weren't even able to control it and just kept losing out. I mean, is Tyr that impactful in this game, or do you think it was a little bit strategy-wise out of Vengeance that was their downfall so far? You
know, I think that it's a little bit more of a macro strategy fail. It wasn't necessarily that Tyr did tremendous work in this game. It's more that they played SK's game through this early game. They took those team fights over and over again. You know, they had to contest the Gold Furies and the Gold Harveys, and they got them over and over again. You know, they did a great job of securing them, but they didn't necessarily find those pickoffs that they really needed with the Neath and the Thor. That combination just so potent, so much stun lock potential from anywhere on the map. They didn't seem to have SK on their heels, which is really something you should have been able to do with this lineup, not knowing where they were at any given time, and then such strong rallies.
Oh no, look at the ward coverage we do to have down for SK. I mean, they know exactly where everyone in Vengeance is right now. It looks like they're going to go for a fight here, and if they win this fight, I think they could potentially win the game.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking basically to either get a pickup, win this team fight by enough. Yep, down goes Frostiak as well, and that's where Tyr is just such a nightmare. He has so much damage with that control in the late game with the items that he has. Now they're looking to, well, they're fighting here in the ultimate of Isis, which is going to heal everyone back up and deal a tremendous burst damage on top of the Kraken. Down goes Frezzy. Surrender vote started, and this is, I would say, in 9 cases out of 10 will be game for SK. It's a deicide coming out. They'll pick up all the players. Rotating out on that golden chariot is Apollo. He's going to go right into the base and start fighting the Minotaur. And yeah,
when I see him on that chariot, I just think in my head, he's fabulous.
He is.
I just see him right on that.
He doesn't care, and they're going to go right in for this kill here, and it looks like that is going to be game number 1 of our round robin stage, going the way of SK Gaming as the Minotaur finally gives it up. He falls down, and SK, you see them there on your monitors, going to give each other those high fives, those hugs, and you see Smek and Sayo now showing a little brotherly love there as they do take down game number 1, Jason.
So, tell me, Bart, what player of each team were you really impressed with? I mean, obviously Vengeance lost, but you can still be very impressed with how they played.
Absolutely. So let's take a look here at the stats while we see the players showing their sportsmanship. Good games all around, of course. You know, in that last game, I think you have to look at Gortok on that Bacchus, putting up 19 assists. He was actually doing really, really well in XP per minute, ends up pretty high up on the chart, sitting at level 18. He does end up, you know, being one of the lower levels on his team at the end of the game, but throughout the mid game, he had great control. He had a lot of good contests. They had a big Gold Fury steal on the back of his initiation. And then big shout outs to Zalia as well. Some of those Isis stuns that were coming out in this game with that Spirit Ball were just filthy. Over on Vengeance, I mean, you really saw Lennox having nice control as well of those Gold Furies, staying there to contest. My hair looks absolutely ridiculous.
I just realized I'm really close to you.
And you've come over.
I've been slowly getting closer throughout the game.
I feel like we've been slowly getting closer too throughout the game. Yeah, but you know, big shout outs to both Vengeance and SK Gaming, and tremendously well played on both sides. SK takes game number 1.
Yeah, and you said Gortok. I mean, so he's a little behind levels. I just want to point something out. He had 12,000 gold at the end of that game. Smekington had 12,600.
Yeah.
Like, he was in line with the rest of his team pretty much, even though behind levels, and I guess that shows how impactful he really was.
He was, him and Suntouch did a great job zoning that mid lane, and Zalia and Sayo did a great job cleaning it up, and then you had Smek on that split push and range carry roll. But ladies and gentlemen, that will take us over to a winner's interview. You'll most likely be having Sayo, but we're going to toss it over to the lovely Miss Rachel. Take it away.
Thank you so much, guys. Congratulations on winning the first game of this huge tournament. How does that feel?
Great. Like, we were going in with the mindset of we can win this when we pick normal. We did. We were really surprised they gave us Tyr, but it worked out, and yeah, we're really happy and that we won the first game, so we can go with like an optimistic mindset to the next.
So I'm curious that you guys went with Tyr. Obviously, he's very strong. You're expecting him to be banned out, but he's also the newest god. So what kind of work goes into strategizing when you get a new god thrown in?
It's basically, it just depends. Like, if he fits a team comp really well, it's not too hard to just adapt with the new god. So since Tyr is pretty much fitting any playstyle, he can, like, you don't need that much practice or theory crafting with him. So it was pretty fine, and we were really happy we got him. So.
Well, you guys, I also think part of your success is that you are the longest running team almost in SMITE. You guys have been together, I think, coming up on your year anniversary, yeah?
Yeah, it's like I think it's a year now, actually. Yeah, it's a year now, and it's just like we've really good synergy with everyone, and we like everyone on the team, so it really helps, yeah.
Well, congratulations to you guys. We're going to go to a short commercial break. When we come back, we have our next match of the round robin.